Hello and welcome to everyone. Today we're going to have a UFC London breakdown with Jamal Graham, one of my greatest fans, a mod on my channel. Thank you so much for the support, man. And also, I hope your MMA dream is coming true. You have a lot of high quality prospects in your dojo, so I hope you're gonna get some professional contracts. We can kick off right off the bat. You can say a few words about yourself if you want to, then we can kick off with the event.
Yeah, man, it's nice to meet you face to face. Obviously, it's been a long time coming. But I do appreciate this chance. I'm excited. I'm excited that you chose me out of everyone to represent your channel here for the UFC London fight week. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get into the fights.
I'm very happy that you are going to be the guy to represent, especially since you're from UK, and I'm sure you know everything about every single fighter who competes. I mean, this is your state technically, so I assume you know everything about every single fighter. Let's kick off with Nicolas Darby versus Claudia Silva. Nicolas Darby is one of the toughest guys who have ever competed. He formerly competed in Cage Warriors. You watched his fight against, I believe it was Ross Houston. What do you think about that fight between Darby and Silva? So you will talk more as you're the guest.
Yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight to kick off the card. I like Nicolas Darby. Just based off watching his striking specifically, he's got really good body kicks. And like you mentioned, that fight with him and Ross Houston and Cage Warriors, they both got cut open. There was so much blood. They were both slipping over the place and had to call it off. He has a win over Alex Lahore, who's ranked number one pro UK and Ireland middleweights. Somehow he's ranked over Christian Leroy Duncan. I'm not sure how that happened. Tapology, get on that. Change Christian Leroy Duncan to the number one middleweight in the UK. But anyway, that aside, yeah, so he came at the UFC. Again, he was in the UFC, had a draw with Dan Tilt, came back in. A bit of a weird fight with Alex Oliveira in Denmark. Obviously, there was a bit of bias with Darby being Danish. They gave the fight to him. The fight with Daniel Rodriguez. Personally, I thought Daniel Rodriguez got to win that one, but still making it close with D-Rod's definitely something. The weird fight with Jesse Romanson, which became a no contest, and then the Tim Means fight, which he lost as well. But Nicolas Darby's a scrapper, man. Silva, he started off really well in his career, got a win over a younger Leon Edwards. But since then, he took that time off after beat Cole Williams, came back, and he looked really slow and wore down against James Krause. I think the age is taking a part in him. I know Darby's not the youngest again himself, but I think Silva's slowing down his career. We've seen it against Court McGee as well. So unless he can keep this fight in the ground, I don't see him getting this one done. I don't know about you, but I think that in the third round, Silva's got his back up against the cage, and as Silva's circling out the pocket, very similar to Justin Gaethje or Edson Barboza, I think that Claudio Silva's going to get caught with a big right hand as he's come circling out the cage. And I think that Nicolas Darby's got to get this one done by knockout in the third round.
Well, I agree about picking a side like Darby, but Darby is extremely technical fighter. You know, I'm visiting my dojo, and my coach is constantly talking about saying, "Listen, you should fight like Darby. You should be technical." And he is one of the most technical fighters on the roster. So I agree that he is going to win. But the problem with Darby, he has a knockout power, but he rarely fishes for a KO. So I'm gonna stand by your side, but I only have a reasonable doubt of knockout or decision. I'm unsure what's gonna happen. Next fight, Mandy versus Victoria Leonardo. I know this is a female fight, and I know this is the trickiest fight to pick on the whole card. What do you say?
Yeah, I can see that. Mandy She came into the UFC with a lot of hype. She was undefeated. She ran into RNA Lipsky. Lipsky's quite good, you know. It's a tough debut. She got knocked down a bit in that fight, got hurt badly. She's got a good kickboxing resume. She got a couple of good wins before she came into the UFC. Diana Tavares, I believe, is also quite an accomplished kickboxer. She's got a win over her. Victoria Leonardo, the one thing that worries me about her is that she has taken a lot of damage, especially for being the women's flyweight division. You know, Manor Fiorot finished her with a head kick. I believe it was Chelsea Hackett, finished her with a head kick maybe. Or it might have been Erin Blanchfield actually. I think an Invicta Erin Blanchfield finished her with a head kick and she went out cold in that one. When you see fighters in the women's divisions getting finished and put out cold, it does kind of make you worried about how tough and durable they are, especially when you think someone like Mandy who will be able to possess head kicks and that, considering their kickboxing experience. So I think Manny Bum's going to get this one done by TKO in the second round. I just said, I can't really trust Victoria Leonardo after how much damage she's taken, especially for being a lower down in the women's division. So yeah, I think Mandy Bum can get this one done.
I also agree on Mandy winning and potential inside the distance via KO TKO. I don't see a submission on her end. Never seen her doing submissions. Maybe her submission game is not bad at all, but I can't say that I've seen it because I haven't seen it. So technically, yeah. Now, the next fight is Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson. Oh, that is the one for Brit fans. I mean, Jai Herbert is from Wolverhampton, if I remember well, right?
Yep, the Black Country banger. The Black Country's a part of England.
That's awesome. So what do you think about that fight?
I'm looking forward to it, man. Kyle Nelson's been out for a while. I thought that he'd left the UFC and fought elsewhere, but apparently he just took some time off. I think he might have got cut and then came back. But last time I seen him, he fought Billy Contello, got put out right at the start of the second round, I believe. I like Kyle Nelson. He has been pretty hit or miss in the UFC, but he does bring it every time, and I think the same thing can be said for Jai Herbert. It's actually, in my opinion, it's a bit of a mirror match. Both guys are mainly strikers, and both guys can be put down. I don't really see this fight leaving the first round, honestly. You need to pay attention to this fight, because this got to be a good fight while ever it lasts. But man, I really do rate Jai Herbert. He got a lot of good wins before he came to the UFC. He beat Joe McColgan, Jack Granite, and Cage Warriors. Those some really good wins. He trains with Leon Edwards at Team Renegades. That's a great training partner right there. Similar striking to himself. But Kyle Nelson, man, I do think that Jai Herbert does have a bit of a weak chin. I mean, that's nothing on him or anything, but I think Kyle Nelson has as weak or maybe even as weak as of a chin. And I think that Jai Herbert's not really had a chance to get going in the UFC. Comes in, Francisco Trinaldo, that's a horrible guy to face in your debut. And Hanato Moicano, Kamaworth, he's been facing just a murderer's own, and last time he's seen out, he lost to Elliot Tapuria in the second round, got knocked out. But then he drops him in the first round with a head kick. I think the potential scenes from Jai Herbert will take him above Kyle Nelson. So I'm going to say Jai Herbert gets one done by first round knockout. I think I'm pretty confident in that.
I think it's either going to be Jai Herbert via early stoppage, it's either going to be Kyle Nelson via decision. Kind of hard to pick a side, though. Anyway, for the next fight, another banger. Well, for me at least, Muhammad Mokaev versus Charles Johnson. People heavily underestimate Charles Johnson. Mokaev's wrestling is awesome. I mean, I'm probably going to bet on Mokaev. Probably will. But people are heavily underestimating Charles Johnson. I mean, he's not a big guy to deal with. I mean, 11-2 is not a bad score at all. Muhammad Mokaev is one of the greatest prospects right now in the division. And, of course, many expect to see him light cruising to top 15, I believe. At 1-5.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's 21 years old. He's super young in the sport, 6-0. There's actually been a bit of beef coming in this fight. I think these guys were beefing on Instagram, so that adds a little bit of on it. But yeah, like you said, Charles Johnson, not a man to be underestimated. Won the belt like LFA. Got a great win over Yuma Horiguchi. So I've been following him for a while over at LFA. He's a really good guy. Beat Carlos Mota for the belt. But 10 years old, he's 31. This is his chance to debut in the UFC. I think the hype is real with Mokaev. I don't think that he's got to win the belt in the next couple of years. I think he's got to have to take a bit more of a slow rise. Hopefully he doesn't get put right into the rankings after this one. You need to build him a little bit. But Blaine O'Driscoll's a good one inside the UFC. And in that debut, last time out in London against Corey Durden, hit him with the flying knee and submitted him. I think we could see a bit of a similar performance here. I think that Charles Johnson might get caught up in the stand-up a little bit, and maybe Charles Johnson underestimates Mokaev himself and gets caught in the second round. So I'm going to say Mohamed Mokaev by a guillotine the second round after a really fun scrap here. I'm looking forward to this one. I agree.
I think Muhammad Mokaev is going to out-wrestle his opponent. So if I would have to choose something, I would say decision, because Charles Johnson's submission defense is pretty good. I mean, let's be honest. His submission defense is... I would give him 8.5 out of 10. I don't know whether you agree.
Definitely. Charles Johnson's tough, man. And it's his UFC debut, like we said. So people might not know him as much as how much Makai's been hyped up, but definitely not a man to be taken lightly. I know Makai's been going to take this one seriously, and Charles Johnson, same way. I mean, neither of you guys are going to go down without a fight, so yeah, definitely looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. What do you think about Makwan Amerikani versus Jonathan Pierce? Makwan Amerikani is Mr. Anaconda, but also Mr. Knee to the face, if you know what am I talking about. If you analyze the complexity of Leron Murphy's movements against him, you've seen that Leron Murphy tricked him with the rhythm, with the pace. You've seen that Makwan Amerikani is pretty much, I don't know how do you say, in my state we say he is out of rhythm. He is non-rhythmical fighter. He is super unpredictable. And Leron Murphy was pretty much rhythmical, and he broke him via that pace, via that step drag forward, backward, via that movement to the 45, right, left, and also pivoting. That really broke Makwan Amerikani's movement. But what I want to say, Jonathan Pierce is not a guy who goes to the side too much. This might be a chance for Amerikani. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think a bit similar to Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson. Could be dealing with a bit of a mirror match here. This is a good one for the grappling fans. Both guys heavy into the jiu-jitsu and that. Makwan Amerikani constantly attacking next with anacondas and the like. Jonathan Pierce got to be in his A-game here, but Jonathan Pierce, we've been seeing a bit of a resurrection. Had that performance against Joe Lozon. He got put down in the first round. But since then, good wins, man. Kai Kamaka's a tough guy. To finish Kai Kamaka It's really impressed me. Same thing goes for Omar Morales. Christian Rodriguez took that one in short notice, and it was a bit of a struggle. So Jonathan Pierce, maybe he's a guy that fights to levels of competition. And Makwan is a guy that you can't underestimate, man. He has had really highs and low lows in the UFC. Most recently, got a win last time at London against Mike Grundy. Got a submission win over Danny Henry in Fight Island. But like you mentioned, the Lauren Murphy fight, Edson Barboza, Shane Burgos, guys have been able to put down and guys have been able to finish Makwan. I'm not sure if that's going to be a massive concern when it comes to Jonathan Pierce. I don't think that a GSP packs the most power in his punch here. That's a close one, and I've seen that Jonathan Pierce is a bit of a favourite. I don't understand that. I think Jonathan Pierce going to get this one done by TKO in the third round, but he's going to have to be really, really high in his submission game here. I think that maybe in like the first or second round, Makwan is going to just about sinking an anaconda, and Jonathan Pierce is going to be just able to slip out, because I think that Jonathan Pierce, man, can't be underestimated. He's got a really good submission game himself. So Makwan and Jonathan Pierce has got to be a great one for any of the jiu-jitsu fans out there. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this one. This one's going to be good.
I think no distance might be the safest pick on this list, but if I'd have to risk, I would probably risk with Makwan Amerikani via submission or Pierce via KO, TKO later rounds, if I'd have to risk. So we agree on that one. Nathaniel Wood versus Char Rosen. Nathaniel Wood is the guy who is pretty much capable of the fight of the night bonus, but there is another problem. Char Rosen is not going to fight too much, and you know that Char Rosen is more of a BJJ guy. I've seen his fight with Darek Mina. So we can't expect a brawl on the end of Charles Rosa, but we can expect marching forward on the end of Nathaniel Wood. He's not a guy who backs down. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe he changed his fighting style in the meantime.
Yeah, well, Nathaniel Wood, it's sad to say that he's been out for so long, because, I mean, I loved watching Nathaniel Wood fight. I mean, that fight against Casey Kenny, I thought he won that fight as well on Fight Island. That was a great fight of the night. Chopping away some of the, I think it was the highest leg kick output we've seen in the UFC, I think, in bantamweight history. Nathaniel Wood's an amazing striker. Trains with all the guys at JB Top Team. Got Wesley Maya as a jiu-jitsu coach there. I'm a big fan of his as well. But he's moved up to featherweight here. I'm not sure if featherweight's the best move from Nathaniel Wood. The only thing I will say, though, is that Charles Rosa is a good matchup for him stylistically. Rosa, like I said, is a jiu-jitsu guy. But on the feet, Charles Rosa, it's a bit of a taekwondo stance. He kind of lighten his feet, bouncing around. But he never really sticks and plants his feet to throw spinning kicks. I think Nathaniel Wood will be able to figure that out really quickly. But I don't see Nathaniel Wood finishing Rosa here. Rosa's quite a tough guy. He's dealt with a lot of guys before, and Nathaniel Wood coming up a weight class. I don't know if Nathaniel's got to be able to pack the power to put away Charles Rosa. So I can see Nathaniel Wood definitely getting this one done by unanimous decision. But it's got to be a tough one. Moving up a weight class, we've got to see how he does. Rosa's always tough, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Nathaniel Wood get back in the one. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, probably Nathaniel is not going to have punch power to knock him out cold, but we might see a decision on Nathaniel Woods, and this is, for me, the perfect candidate for the fight of the night.
Definitely, man. Like we said, it's a perfect combination of aggressiveness and just the output that Nathaniel Wood brings, and then the toughness and the experience of Charles Rosa. Yeah, it's a good mix for a fight of the night, potentially.
Now, the next one is Mark Diakisa versus Damir Hadžović. Honestly, Mark Diakisa showed great shooting in, great fight tactics, and great fighting intelligence. Against the Damir Hadžović, fighting intelligence is pretty much important, because if you start brawling with him, you're gonna lose that fight. Nobody can brawl with him, but smart fighting is something that could give Diakisa edge. I doubt Diakisa is gonna finish him, but Diakisa decision sounds okay to me.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to agree with you now. I think March Casey has got to get this one by decision. He also has been training with Nathaniel Wood in this camp, so those guys have got to be working each other in the striking. Last time out, like you said, they showcased his wrestling against Vyacheslav Borshev. You don't want to be striking with that guy, so it's a smart game plan there for Casey. I had a very mixed career in the UFC. He had a good scrap with Rafael Fiziev, and then he got rocked and finished, submitted by Rafael Alves. He got wins over Lando Venata, Joe Duffy, and he got that amazing knockout over Timu Pacallan. We know the potential that March Casey has, and I think this is a good one to show off his skills here. Damir Hadžović is tough, don't get me wrong, but I think that the competition that Hadžović has lost to is on par with guys that are like March Casey, and I think March Casey can take advantage of that. The biggest slip-up we've seen from Hadžović is when he got submitted inside a minute by Renato Moicano. He did not look good in that fight. Came out against Yancy Medeiros. Yancy Medeiros is tough, man. I'll give him that credit, but he did drag him out to a bit of a slog decision. So yeah, I think March Casey's rejuvenated. I think he's got to come out in full form, and I think he's got to drop him 1 point, but not finish him. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this. I think I'm going to get March Casey by decision.
Next fight is Mason Jones versus Ludovic Klein. I'm a big fan of Mason Jones as well, as you know.
Yep, same.
But there is one thing that worries me. Ludovic Klein is naturally a lightweight fighter. He was, you know how hard his weight cuts to featherweight were. You know that few times he was unable to hit the scale, and you remember what happened in the fight against David Onama. Mason Jones is very technical. He finished Adam Proctor in the first round because Proctor was too open. But he got used to 5-round wars. This is the 3-round war, and Klein is over-aggressive. You've seen against Trizano that he is over-aggressive. I want Mason Jones to win, but I doubt Mason Jones will be able to stop this guy. Maybe via decision, but we've seen a lot of toughness on the end of Klein. But there is one good thing. Mason has way better cardio. But the thing that worries me, this is 155. This is not 145. Mason's natural is 155. So let's hope he wins. But what do you think about the fight?
Yeah, so Ludovic Klein was originally meant to fight next week on UFC 277 against Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes, I believe, had visa issues or something, so he had to pull out that one. It comes here. Credit to Ludovic Klein for taking this one. I think that the durability is a question for Ludovic Klein. Obviously, he got worn down and then eventually beaten by Nicolas. Durability is not a question at all for Mason Jones. The guy's as tough as nails. It's got to take a bullet to put down Mason Jones in that cage. He's tough as anything. I'm a big fan of his. He's a black belt in judo, I believe, and then the striking, the Muay Thai is excellent. You look at the wins he got before he joined the UFC, like you said, he beat Adam Proctor and Joe McCall, getting to become a double champion in Cage Warriors. Alexei Manikivi, Donovan Desmay, Cormon Day, these are staple names of the European MMA scene outside of the UFC. And Mason Jones has beaten these guys quite easily. Came into the UFC, the fight with Mike Davis. I don't know about you, I thought Mason Jones beat Mike Davis on Fight Island. It was a close fight, good fight, great fight, as it always is for Mason Jones. And then no contest with Alan Patrick, where he poked him in the eye, was beating him up at that point. And then, yeah, exactly. And then he fought David Onama. We've seen since then how good David Onama is, and Mason Jones took it to him, took some huge shots in that fight. Credit to Onama, that was on short notice as well. I think Mason Jones has got to finish this one, take KO in the second round. I just think that Ludovic Klein does leave himself open, and I think maybe in the same place as Herbert Burns, we just seen after the first round, he doesn't get his way. Ludovic Klein does seem to kind of slow down and think to himself, like, God, if I got it, can I still get this one done? And I've not finished this guy. Like, you know, got that head kick against Shane Young in his UFC debut. That was like a great performance. But since then, been a bit hard and miss. Beat Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, again, way less durable, way less durable than Mason Jones. So if Ludovic Klein can't finish a guy in the first round, I really do question him. And I do not see a world where he can finish Mason Jones at any point in the fight. So yeah, I'm going to go Mason Jones TKO in the second round here. Big fan of the Dragon.
Yeah, I hope also Mason Jones is going to win. He is a heavy favorite, but I don't trust bookies every single time. You know, with bookies, you never know what you're on, right? You never know literally what you're on with the bookies. And we are transitioning finally to the main card, and I assume this is the favorite fight for you. Paul Craig, Volkan Ozdemir. Paul Craig has been battered so many times, but somehow he always pulls out a magical submission. I don't know how, but even when he's bleeding, he pulls out a submission. You've seen what he done to Jamal Hill, or every single fight he pulls out that arm bar or something with the shoulder or a triangle choke. He has some kind of a modified triangle choke. He always grabs the leg. People rarely do that today, so submission switches are awesome. But he knows to strike, he knows to engage. Last time, when I've seen him striking with Hill, I was like, wait, is this guy BGG or what?
Yeah, he's used, like you said, using the trunk kicks quite well in that fight. I mean, it becomes like a process to Paul Craig. Gets put in his back and then he pulls over the ankle, over the head to get to the triangle position. Gets the overhook and then sinks in that triangle, man. It's deadly. Paul Craig's not had it easy in the UFC, man. I mean, think about how many guys, undefeated guys, Paul Craig's had to fight in the UFC. Look through his UFC record. Over half the guys Paul Craig's had to fight have been undefeated. And I went back and checked today. Only 2 times in the UFC has Paul Craig been the favourite. That was against Tyson Pedro and against Shogun Hu in the rematch. I'm pretty sure he's the favourite coming in this one, maybe like a slight favourite. And I think that's deservedly so, man. Paul Craig, he went from being knocked out after making like weird decisions against Alonzo Menifield, throwing 2 spinning back kicks to the row and gotten caught there. But since he beat Vinicius Mahia, he's been, I say perfect. He's taken damage, but he's not lost since that fight. 2 fights against Shogun. The Jamal Hill fight, I think, is the best point for his career. I think we can all agree on that. Took down Jamal Hill, pulled guard, and then just beat him up, got him and then submitted him. Well, to say submitted him, the referee stopped it, it was a TKO. Last time out in London, submitting Nikita Krylov after getting beat down. It looked like he was about to go out multiple times, but somehow Paul Craig always does it. Same thing against Magomed Ankalaev and Kennedy Nzechukwu. He always pulls out, man, but this is a worrying one. It seems like every time Paul Craig fights someone, it's a bit of a risky matchup because of how willing Paul Craig is to go into the fire and take damage to deal it back. He's like the Homer Simpson of MMA, as he says. But Volkan Ozdemir packs some serious power, man. And not only that, Volkan Ozdemir can wrestle with guys. Volkan Ozdemir did good wrestling against Dominic Reyes, and he held his own against Leo Latifi in the grappling situations. Latifi's a really strong guy. So I would not underestimate Volkan Oezdemir here. The only thing is, I think that similar to the reason that I picked Paul Craig to beat Nikita Krylov, Oezdemir does make some very easy mistakes in the grappling, and he can be tripped up in situations. And that's not good to fight Paul Craig. So what I think's going to happen here is in the second round, Paul Craig's going to try to sink in a rear naked choke on Volkan Oezdemir. Oezdemir's got to start fighting the hands, and while he's doing that, Paul Craig's going to grape down the legs and start beating him down. I think very similar to the Shogun Hua rematch, he's got a TKO in the second round. But I don't think Volkan Oezdemir's got to tap to strikes like Shogun did, but I think he will get a TKO here. I think Paul Craig's just on the run of his lifetime, man. He's rejuvenated. Like I said, he was going to retire before the end of the year. He changed that now because of how well he's doing. So yeah, man. It's not even it's not even like a bias or anything like that. I do think that Paul Craig's got to get this one done. And do you know what? I'll say Paul Craig by TKO in the first round. I'll say Paul Craig in the first round by TKO. Up Scotland, man. I hope Paul Craig can get this one done. But nothing but respect to Volkan. But yeah, I'm pretty confident here. Hopefully Paul Craig can get this one done and continues ascent to the top of the light heavy division, man. It's got to be a good one.
No, I'm going to bet on Paul Craig to win, but I'm going to bet on a straight win because the difference between Paul Craig straight and Paul Craig submission win is, in my state, I think Paul Craig to win is something plus 120 or something like that, and submission is plus 140. So it's like in my state, it's insane. Literally, you bet Paul Craig submission, it's literally like you're betting on Paul Craig, which is, I don't know why. They probably think he's gonna submit the guy.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me. You look at Paul Craig's record, every fight he's had, apart from one fight, has not won a decision. The only fight in Paul Craig's entire that went to the decision was the draw with Shogun. So Paul Craig, you can pretty much trust him to not go to the judge. The same way with Volkan Oezdemir. Volkan Oezdemir's a dire be killed fighter. You know, that's how it is. He knocks you out when he gets finished. I mean, you got to get credit. This is got to be an incredible fight. I don't really see this one going to the decision. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's got to be a good one. Good way to open the main card.
Yeah, excellent. Now the next fight, Molly Mccann versus Hannah Goldie. Hannah Goldie is so unpredictable. She is not the fastest striker in the world. Molly Mccann has explosive power, and Molly Mccann has explosive strikes. So as long as the fight stays on the feet, there shouldn't be much problem for the meatball, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. So I think this is a bit of a step back in my opinion from Molly Mccann. I rate Luana Carolina as a win. I don't really like Hannah Goldie as highly, so I'm not sure how this decision was made for to fight her after beating Luana Carolina with that spinning back elbow. But Hannah Goldie, she's pretty tough. You know, she's got a submission against Emily Whitmire. It's not got to be an easy fight. It never really is with Molly Mccann. Molly Mccann always makes it a bit of a brawl. She's had the best performances of her career, you know, against Priscilla Capoeira. She's beat Ariane Lipski, Diana Belbita. We've seen how well she can do, and then her losses, like Tyler Santos is not a bad loss. We've seen that age pretty well. And I mean, yeah, I agree with you. You know what, I'll say Molly Mccann by TKO in the third round. I think she's just so pressure heavy. I don't think Hannah Goldie's got to be used to it. There's no one else really in the women's division that fights like Molly Mccann and is as tough as her. I don't see Hannah Goldie being able to submit her or wrap her up in a number. So yeah, I'm going to go Molly Mccann TKO in the third round here. Pretty straightforward, I'd say.
Yeah, I also hope Molly Mccann is going to win inside the distance because as long as she keeps the fight standing, she is fine. But if she stops keeping the fight standing, that's a big problem. That's a really, really big problem. So let's hope she will keep it standing. The next fight, Nikita Kravo versus Alexander Gustafson. Alexander Gustafson is getting back after a pretty much long layoff while Nikita Kravo was on a roll. He showcased some high-level performances against some of the highest-level ranked guys in the division. I believe it was against Ankalaev. He gave him a hard time. He gave many guys a hard time. So I think this could be a suicidal fight for Alexander Gustafson, especially considering the fact that Krylov knows both to strike and roll on the ground. Also, his wrestling improved significantly.
Yeah, Krylov's on the right, man. Krylov's a really tough guy, and I agree this could be a bit of a suicide mission for Gustafson. I mean, we all know the highest of Gustafson's careers, that uppercut KO against Glover. The fight tonight, obviously the Hall of Fame fight they had against John Jones the first time out. But cutting back down to light heavyweight, this could be what he's looking for. Last time we seen him, he was up at heavyweight and was not really in good shape at all, in my opinion. He got arm burned the first round against Verdum. I looked at his Instagram. He's looking a bit better shape, but abs are coming back in. But I don't think Alexander Gustafson is as into MMA as he was when he was fighting John Jones in his prime. I think that this might be a bit of a slog for him to come back to. And I think Krylov, man, he's so tough, and it's such a rough one to come back to. I'm going to go Nikita Krylov by TKO in the second. I think there's got to be a good striking match here, and I think they've got to be playing with front kicks, teep kicks. And I just don't think Gustafson's got to be ready for us, man. Cutting back down to light heavyweight. It's not been light heavyweight in so long. And Krylov is very, like we're saying, very underrated. The good fight with Nicolas, close fight. Was beating up Paul Craig really badly. Good grappling match with Glover as well. Was taken to Glover on the grappling. So yeah, I'm going to go Krylov TKO on the second tier. But I really do hope Gustafson can get this one done. You know, we're all fans of Gustafson.
Yeah, but Gustafson hasn't fought for a while, so Krylov inside the distance sounds like a fair odd. But unfortunately, only like you have to pick around if you want to be a plus value. So I don't know. I have never. Gustafson used to have a great cardio. Unfortunately, nowadays I'm unsure how is his cardio. Maybe, but I would definitely give cardio advantage to Krylov, especially thanks to his great improvements, especially during the last 2 years. So I'm gonna go with Krylov, probably something KO TKO around 2 or 3, something like that, definitely. The next fight, this guy is very popular in England. Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Levitt, and Paddy Pimblett submission specialist, great on the ground, rare naked choke specialist. But Jordan Levitt, man, Jordan Levitt is not a guy to underestimate. My prediction was no distance because I'll be honest, man, I'm scared of Jordan Levitt. I mean, he's not a guy to underestimate.
No, definitely not, man. It's got to be an entertaining one. Let's say both these guys like to please the crowd, like to do stuff inside and out the cage to make the fans happy. It's got to be a good one, and you know, a lot of people are saying this is Paddy Pimblett's toughest test in the UFC. I can definitely see that. I don't think Paddy Pimblett's been facing as easy competition as people say. Luigi Vendramini is a really rough debut, man. Luigi's got some good power, trains like a good gym. Kazula Vargas as well is a tough guy. He got one over Wrong Zhu. Paddy Pimblett's not really taking as much as an easy road to the top as I think people are really saying it. I'm rating Paddy's career path so far, and obviously, I mean, people act like Paddy Pimblett's not been tested. He was a really young guy when he fought Julian LaRosa for 5 rounds. He went 5 rounds and beat him there. 5 rounds against Sorenbach, 5 rounds against Adnan Armani. It's not. I don't think John Levitt's going to be able to wash him out there. We've seen John Levitt struggle against guys that can grapple heavy like Claudio Pulis, and even guys like, I mean, it's that trail done to that fight Sean Norris, and I think that Jordan Levitt's striking didn't look too on par with me. Paddy Pimblett's not the most technical striker, but when he does hit, he hits with power. Paddy Pimblett's he's a strong guy, he's a big guy, he's got power. I think I could put Jordan Levitt in some bad positions here. But I was originally thinking this would go inside the distance, but you know what, I'm going to go Paddy by decision here. John's a tough guy, and I think both guys could get hurt in this fight. Paddy Pimblett always seems to take a bit of damage, similar like Paul Craig before he gets the win done. He always seems to take a big hit, then gets recovered. So yeah, Paddy Pimblett by decision here, but it's not going to be an easy, like you said. Jordan Levitt's a tough guy. He's coming into enemy territory here against Paddy, and he's got to take it. You know, take it or leave it, man. Got to get this one done. So yeah, Paddy Pimblett by decision, but definitely got to be a close fight, and it's a good fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very hard fight. As I already told you, I picked not going the distance here because I'm super scared of Jordan Levitt. I'm fading this fight for betting, definitely. If I must pick a side, probably going to be Paddy, but I'm fading this fight, honestly. Now, Jack Hermansson versus Chris Kurtis. Chris Kurtis survived Rodolfo Vieira. Chris Kurtis scored 2 back-to-back wins when he was a huge underdog. And you've seen how MMA Guru was yelling when Chris Kurtis won twice. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
It was so funny when Chris Kurtis was winning, he was losing his bet.
Yeah, I remember. MMA Guru, shout out to the MMA Guru, man, some boy he is.
Well, to the MMA Guru, definitely. But he is not a fan of Chris Kurtis, and I understand him. But honestly, Jack Hermansson is a tough guy to deal with. He took part in 5 rounds with Strickland, like, I've scored at 49-46 for Strickland, and the cards were so close. I was surprised, honestly. I didn't think the fight was that close, but Kurtis can engage. Kurtis stuffed Rodolfo Vieira's, I think, 20 takedown offense attempts, right? 20, 22. How many was it?
Yeah, roughly that was a lot, man. Chris Curtis, good taking defense. That's what we've done definitely from that Vieira fight.
Yeah, he's having this underhook. Every time you try to go to the inside, you probably do that all day on the training, but he constantly does this. Not doing like this, but like this, narrow. Like this narrow or this, you know, he's a very modern style fighter. I know people are gonna laugh their asses off, but this is a modern move. You know. Back in my time, when you stuff a takedown, you were just doing this. But now, no. Now you defend via underhooks or knees, which in my time, that was not normal, like nowadays. But the sport is evolving. The sport is changing. And Jack Hermansson can stand and bang, but I see Chris Kurtis as a better striker. Again, on the ground, I really don't know much about Kurtis' ground game because it's hard to take him down, so I can't predict on that. I'll have to choose Kurtis because he really showed superb takedown defense, and I don't think that Hermansson has better takedown offense than Rodolfo Vieira.
Yeah, and I'd say the same. Chris Curtis trains every day with Sean Strickland, Extreme Couture, and Strickland went 5 rounds with Hermansson, so that's obviously a good training partner there. You can always ask Strickland, what can I do, what not to do against Hermansson, because I mean Strickland kept Hermansson off him for 5 rounds. I don't think Hermansson ever really was able to take down Strickland, so he can take some help there. Chris Curtis, man, it's a bit of a Cinderella story since he came to the UFC. Got the win over Phil Hawes, Brendan Allen, and it said stuffing the takedowns and keeping Rodolfo Vieira off him. This is obviously it was originally meant to be Jack Hermansson versus Darren Till. A bit of a different matchup for Hermansson. It's a bit of a split shot, but I think Darren Till is very different striking wise compared to Chris Curtis. Darren Till's a lot more of a patient fighter. Chris Curtis is a lot more willing to get in there, and I think Chris Curtis has got a bit more power than Darren Till, I guess you could say. I've got to go Curtis by TKO in the second tier. I think he's got a lot more power than Marvin Vettori, and Vettori could put down Jack Hermansson very early in their fight. Hermansson, I mean, he always can get you, man. He can get you in the heel hook. He's got gassed them so impressively in that heel hook on Fight Island. That was a great performance. Probably the best he's career, I guess you could say. And then the 5 rounds against Jacques, David out-grappled him. Jack Hermansson's no slouch. He's ranked in the top 10 for a reason. But I think this is Chris Curtis' perfect time, man. Coming in, he's not ranked right now. He could come in and get the number 8 position, I believe. I think Jack Hermansson's ranked number 8. So there's a big chance to get up here. And actually, man, I'm a big fan of Chris Curtis. So, yeah, this has got to be a good one. A bit of a step down, I guess, from the co-main event, but Chris Curtis brings it. I mean, Darren Till, I mean, you can never really truly know what kind of Darren Till they're going to get, whether it's like kind of like the more patient Darren Till, so the one that gets a knockout. Chris Curtis, is guaranteed to put on a good fight, so this has got to be a good one for the crowd especially. And Chris Curtis taking the second. I'm a big fan of both guys, but Chris Curtis, man, been impressing me, proving me wrong against Phil Hawes and Brendan Allen. I picked it against him in both those fights. Phil Hawes TKO here, man, it's got to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree about that. Definitely agree. I'm going to give him edge. And now the main event of the evening: Curtis Blades versus Tom Aspinall. Man, I will bet on Aspinall. I'm all over Aspinall. And now you're going to say why. Well, Blades is just shooting, pressure, weaving overhand. And Aspinall is excellent BJJ and one of the crispest boxing strikes in the division. For me, he is technically the best boxer. Maybe he's not a knockout artist, but he's technically the best boxer for me. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this one. Curtis Blades, a bit more basic than Tomas, but definitely comes to his game. Curtis Blades tries to disguise his takedowns with using strikes. Like we've seen that against Alexei Olnik, against Justin Willis. Curtis Blades, and against Gino Dos as well. Curtis Blades can catch you when you think he's going to come in with a takedown and hit you with a big shot. I mean, Curtis Blades is a heavyweight, man. All heavyweights are going to hit hard. But it can have consequences. We've seen in the Derek Lewis fight, the guys can figure out Chris Curtis. And Tom Aspinall's a lot quicker, man. He's got a lot more fight IQ than Derek Lewis. I know that him and Paul Craig been training each other at the fish tank here. That's a midway point. Paul Craig comes down from Scotland. Aspinall goes up from England to train at the fish tank. That's at Andrew Fisher's gym. You got Michael Parkins at the gym as well. He's got to be the Contender Series this year. So it's a good training centre right there for both guys to come in. And Aspinall's got to be drilling his jiu-jitsu with Paul Craig. Training wrestling as well. It's a good fight, man. I'm glad to go with Aspinall here, KO in the second round. Curtis Blades is definitely the biggest test of Aspinall's career so far. Like Aspinall said himself, it's the worst matchup from the division. I guess you could argue other than Ngannou and Cyril Gane. But he's been looking so good, and it seems like every time Aspinall beats a guy, we think, how good is that guy really? And then they come out and look good. I mean, we're thinking, how good is Arlovsky really? Arlovsky's on a 4-fight win streak. Jake Collar's been looking good. Jake Collar's actually been looking a pretty decent heavyweight. Sergey Spivak's been looking good. And Aspinall washes these guys, man. No one beats Alexander Volkov like that, but Aspinall made it look easy. Took him down, got a straight armbar. I can't doubt Aspinall here, man. I think that he's just been fighting so well against the level of opposition he's been fighting. And I'd be a fool to pick against him here, honestly, after what we've been seeing him do. Curtis Blades, I've actually never picked against Curtis Blades. This is the first time I'm picking against him. We've seen, I mean, the Derek Lewis fight, he was winning until he wasn't. That's kind of how it is. And only other losses, apart from that, were to Francis Ngannou. We've seen him beat guys with Volkov as well, but very differently than how Aspinall did. And he's on a 2-fight win streak right now. Rosenstrike, Chris Dawkins, very different ways that he beat him as well. It's got to be a tough one, like we said, for Aspinall, but I do think he'll be able to get this one done and move on into the top 3, I guess, the heavyweight division. It's a big fight.
Yeah, absolutely. We agree on Aspinall. Man, thank you so much for breaking down this UFC London with me. I'm pretty much sure that this was enjoyment for both sides. Do you have a message for the fans for the end of the show? And of course, I will make this as a premiere. There is a chance I will post it today. I will just message you. I will send you a message. So do you have the final message for the fans?
Yeah, Mama, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for getting me on here, hopefully this won't be the last time. Hopefully at some point in the future we can get back on and do another one of these. I'm still trying to get an opponent in for Bucky. That'll be getting shortly soon, but definitely by the end of the year. But, shout out to all my supporters, man. Shout out to, Jamie on Instagram. Shout out to that CRG Edits, Donny. That guy's a good guy. Hype 3 MMA. Shout out to Hype 3 MMA. I like that guy as well. A lot of people supporting me. Shout out to MMA Guru. I know there's been some beef going on with the MMA Guru and the MMA holes. I don't want any part of it, man. I'll stay out of it. Me and you, can stay neutral on that, and we can just let him figure it out. But yeah, man, thanks to everyone that's been supporting me. Hopefully this won't be the last time, like I just said. And yeah, thank you, Vlad, for having me on. I hope to do this again.
Of course we will do it again. No worries, man. There will be more European cards. Thank you. I go to create video now and I'll let you know. Okay.
Alright, sounds good, man. See you later.